Today's Leading the Agenda session is pretty much focused on council administrations and what sort of processes do you need to have in place. But there's another important element to all of this, and that is the requirements and the impact on sitting councillors as well as candidates in the lead up to the election. So the VLGA, as part of its Fast Track Leadership Program, is running a session particularly focused on councillors in February, and I'd be delighted to be involved in that one as well. So we used to talk about caretaker conventions for local government. It's fairly new in local government as compared to other spheres of government, but it's been around for some time now. I can remember when the first caretaker period was 90 days and then it was brought back to, I think, 57, and now we have a 32-day period. We call it the election period now as opposed to the caretaker period, but it's ostensibly the same thing. It's about making sure that councils and administrations aren't binding an incoming council unfairly to particular decisions, policies, the use of their resources in the lead up to an election to influence an outcome. All of those things are captured in what we now call the election period. And you might think it's a bit early to be thinking about this, but in fact it's a little bit late if you haven't already started thinking about this. The legislative timeline already requires you to have reviewed and, if necessary, updated your election period policy. Has to be done no later than 12 months out from the next election.
The Act is very specific about the election period. The election period is defined in the Act, and the principles of conduct for council administration is also defined in the Act. In short, the councils must be transparent and accessible during the election period for all candidates, regardless whether they are sitting councillors as candidates or new candidates, as it were. Councils have fixed term 4-year elections, and it'll be the fourth Saturday of October. So that is the fourth Saturday of October in 2020, October 24.
I think traditionally we've seen some of the peak bodies a bit slower in their planning process. We've certainly started planning well and truly, so we're well advanced in terms of our setup for what our office has to do. The planning and the work that's done in the lead up prevents many of the big issues that can occur, and our office has obviously had to investigate a number of key issues. So what I'm talking about is having the rules around the election period policy in place. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important that it's in place and well published, so well known to all the cohort that it might apply to.
If I was a CEO, I'd be wanting to see a project plan well out from an election period as part of the planning cycle for my council. Council plans are required to be done by every council, and they take a 4-year view. Cascading out of those are operational plans with business plans and the tasks that need to be carried out within the organisation. The governance timetable, it's really important that is part of that thinking up front.
I think councils, because it happens every 4 years, things can fly under the radar and go unnoticed. And we also had a number of turnovers in council CEOs and governance staff, so there might be some things that may have missed or not been recorded as accurately or as timely as they probably should have. So it is timely that we do have this 1 year out LTH day to remind councils of their obligations under the Local Government Act regarding council administration and their obligations to the community and to the council on how to conduct the election in 2020, so it is fair, it is transparent, and it is accessible to all candidates standing for the 2020 elections.
Well, firstly, it's a requirement under the legislation, so that's one of the first issues. So we would look at it quite dimly in terms of the council and their responsibility. So our expectations would be that the administration would have that process in place. It's by law, it's meant to have been done by now. I'm hearing that some haven't been done, so we're going to work with those councils very shortly over the next few weeks to make sure that their policies are adopted in place.
And as part of the preparation leading up to the 2020 council election, the VLGA will be working with councils to conduct candidate information sessions in the early part and towards the middle part of 2020 to inform the community about the important work of councils, the roles and responsibility of councillors. We encourage that you contact the VLGA so we can work with your council and your community to run the best possible local government elections for 2020.
I think it's really good that the VLGA is casting this light at this time on election period planning. And today we're focusing very much on council administrators, but the council laws and the candidate aspects of that is just as important. The VLGA is perfectly placed to conduct this governance training. I think it's the Fast Track Leadership Program that's coming up in 2020, and there'll be a session that's focused particularly on councillors and councillors as candidates, particularly early in the new year. And I look forward to that because that's a really important piece of the puzzle as well.
And that's a wrap for Leading the Agenda 2019. We're really looking forward to having you back next year for 2020. If you're interested in finding out more about how to get the VLGA out doing training for your community, make sure you take a look at our website where we have our candidate training prospectus.